In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to A Place at the Table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome to A Place at the Table, where we interrogate the issues that matter to all of us. I'm tabling for discussion the matter of judicial and legal integrity.
Welcome back, Ego.
Thank you.
If it's on the menu, then it deserves our attention. Pay close attention to the dilemma. When you're in danger and need protection, who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters. Certainly, if we aren't attentive, then we just may miss the silent tax on women. I'm spotlighting female genital mutilation and advocating for zero tolerance.
About time the Inca Nigerians are nothing if not tolerant. I'm saying to the Nigerian who is tired of a country that doesn't love them back, don't give up hope. The dawn is right around the corner.
Whilst you keep the hope alive, Benga, I'm shining the light on a major source of our frustrations, Nigeria's allocative inefficiency on borrowed funds.
Elsie, do we need a dictionary? Don't worry. Here at the table, we don't just drop big grammar. We also break it down. So stick around. The focus of my advocacy is concern about judicial and legal integrity in Nigeria, an issue that continues to cause concern and has captured the public's attention. Across the nation, many Nigerians question whether the courts are truly fair and impartial, particularly when high-profile figures are involved. Public frustration with legal process and the judiciary has reached an all-time high, fueled by rulings in our courts that always seem to favor the powerful interests and by allegations of influence and corruption in many of our key legal processes. Recent reports have raised questions about corruption, inefficiency, and inconsistent application of the law in Nigerian courts. There are numerous allegations of cash paid for judgments, unnecessary delays in ruling, and a lack of transparency. This has completely eroded confidence in the judiciary. These challenges in our judiciary have real consequences. Their weak enforcement of our laws and perceived judicial bias undermine efforts to combat crime and protect human rights. For businesses and for individuals, the uncertainty in our legal system also stifles economic growth and has deepened social frustration and distrust. It is clear that to address judicial integrity, we will have to adopt a multi-pronged approach. We have to have stricter enforcement of anti-corruption laws, transparent case management systems, better funding, and training for the staff in the courts and for judges. And we need mechanisms to ensure accountability without undermining judicial independence. Civil society groups also call for greater public access to court processes and outcomes, as transparency is essential to rebuilding trust. Digitalization of court records, effective monitoring bodies, and community legal awareness programs are seen as key tools in this effort. Ultimately, strengthening Nigeria's judicial and legal integrity is more than just institutional reform. It is a safeguard for our democracy, for human rights, and for economic progress. Without urgent and sustained action, citizens of Nigeria will continue to perceive the courts as distant and inequitable, eroding the very foundation of the rule of law.
I've heard people say this somewhere. I had to write it down. And they tell you once the bench is compromised, every other reform collapses, right?
Yes.
And it's really sad because I know on this table we've talked about the judicial system and how important the judicial system is. Because if we lose it, which I don't know why I'm saying if we, because I feel like we've lost it already, but if we lose it, then there's no democracy really.
Yeah.
Because what is democracy without rule of law, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think that this is a very important call to our leaders. You said something about there being a mechanism to ensure accountability without undermining the judicial independence. I don't know why you get into an office, a governor or a president just wakes up one morning and says he's buying SUVs for the judges. And some of us will say, oh, they deserve it, they're judges, but what is the law backing gifting in civil service? Why are you giving them that gift? Is this not inducement?
Yes.
And if, no matter how you want to paint it, we've seen governors do it, we've seen presidents do it. What is the reason for that gifting that you're doing? What are you rewarding? What is the process to saying this is a judge he has done? Is it in their law, in their rule book to say they deserve this from a governor, or we are just spending taxpayers' money without asking a question? Also, I think the EFCC and ICPC and all the bodies that are supposed to fight corruption should do their job.
Yes.
Sometimes when people spend certain kind of monies, you don't even need to reach out to them before you begin to trace that money. And at the end of the day, when you follow the money, you follow where the issue starts from.
Yeah.
So if I'm supposed to earn a certain amount of money, but I am spending way beyond that money, and it's unexplainable, then we need to begin to open probes and wonder, where are you getting this money from?
I am concerned about solutions. So how do we find what's the next solution? Number one is, how do judges come to be?
Yes.
They come from the law system, from the lawyers themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, from that process. MBA is very, very important in that process. So if we have bad lawyers, we're going to have bad judges. If we have corrupt lawyers, we're going to have corrupt judges, ultimately. So we have to look at the ethical systems in which lawyers themselves are, brought up, created. And so how do we make sure that the next generation of lawyers, because I think I've already given up hope on the ones that we have, the next generation of lawyers and judges are going to be ones that have high levels of integrity. Then the second one for me is the NJC. Currently, the NJC is the regulator.
Yes.
Okay, in that space. We knew when I think the Buhari administration tried probing the judges, and they went and arrested them, and and then the whole
they hit back.
Maybe the way they went about it had its own issues, but we saw the reaction that there was this conversation around independence of the judiciary. You cannot go and probe them. They are independent and all that. So if that's the case, if we accept that our system of government gives the judiciary their independence and they have to basically regulate themselves, then we need to, shed a lot of searchlight on the NJC.
Yeah.
How many judges are the NJC probed in the last 4 years, for instance? How many judges have been sanctioned, for instance? Can we see the evidence of that? Can we be transparent of things like that? Because if we don't do these things, we will be here. I was asking you the other time, how do we solve this problem? Because I don't know how to solve it. The judiciary is supposed to be the last bus stop.
Exactly.
Where everybody can go to and find justice.
Find justice. Yeah.
And if we can't do that because the system itself is corrupt, I don't know.
I'll start with the Bible verse that says, when there's no vision, the people perish. And then it goes to also, when there's no law and order, the system collapses. And if you look at Nigeria today, it is not just the presidency, it's not just the judiciary, it's not just the legislature, it's the judiciary. They are the final boss of, like you said. But we live in a society where influence matters over evidence.
Over everything.
As long as you know somebody, it doesn't matter the evidence that's been appeared. But one thing that we fail to recognize, which is the core of the problem, is the judiciary, they are not exempt, they don't live in a vacuum. They're not exempted from society. There are people who see what's going on within the system. There are people who live in the system that is insufficient, that they want to also have a certain kind of lifestyle within the system. Judiciary goes up, but like, what about the clerks and all of those people under that are not being paid properly, that would move your file under. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you have one small case. I had this case in court in 2014 over a land dispute with the developer and the landlord. Till today, 2014, till today, we're still going to court. Why? Do you get just what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like Ika said, the first question is, have we ever seen a judge being persecuted in Nigeria? Is there any evidence to that? If there's no system to hold them accountable, right? how can we trust the same people who are supposed to give us justice when there's nothing to actually hold them accountable when they don't give us those justice? Is there any, have we ever seen, I don't know, but have we ever seen any transparent disciplinary action that everybody gets to see that, okay, this person did this and this and this, and they're being held accountable. So I think the first thing here is, like Ika said, I don't know what the solution is, but we need to start getting them to understand that if Nigeria collapses, it's not the president, it is the judicial system.
Many scriptures, both in the Bible, in the Quran, and other religion books, had stated it clearly that God is interested in defending the poor. From the book of Job to Proverbs to Exodus 23 to Ecclesiastes. In fact, the one in Psalms 82 we interest to, he said, how long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and the needy. Read them out of the hand of the wicked. I mean, God expects us to be fair. Okay, now let's bring it down to the physical realm. The lady justice. I mean, the blindfold represents neutrality and impartiality. Do we have that today? The answer is capital no. The scales represent, careful weighing of evidences. It is here in Nigeria that they will. I've seen police officer chewing evidence before. Not be said entirely. Chewing, put down for say, go call your judge. It the chew in Nigeria, Then the sword talks about power and authority to be useful in a better way, in a fair way. Do we have all this? No. The other time when I said, until we conquer our personal greed, our national greed will continue to collapse, people were laughing at me. You see, this skin, this DNA of ours, I don't know what we could do to Ram. That it is so difficult for an average black man or Nigerian man to admit that, you know what, I am wrong. And I'm sorry for that. We just want to, you see, I better pass my neighbor lifestyle. I am greater than you.
Well, we can continue this conversation, and there's so many different views. And but all these points that have been made have been very, very, very good points made. Institutions like the judiciary are called pillars of society for a reason. We only have to see what happens when they crumble to understand why.
The same could be said about the police and our security apparatus. There you go. I'll be taking things up from where you left off. Keep it locked, my people. I want to ask a question tonight that makes me uncomfortable. When you're robbed, attacked, threatened, do you feel safe to call the police? A friend of mine almost lost her life recently. Someone broke into her house at night. He wasn't there to steal. He confessed he was paid $5 million to assassinate her. They caught him, of course, beat him up, then took him to the police station. The police refused to accept him because he had been beaten. Then she was told to take the same person to the hospital. First, she took him to the hospital, she paid. She took him back to the station. She was told she needed to facilitate the process. She paid. She was asked to fund feeding. Hey, God. She paid. She was asked to use her own car to transport the same person that tried to kill her to investigate, to her house, to go and investigate. She had to do the same thing. When he was finally convicted by the court, they called her late at night to drive him to Ikoyi prison. This is not a movie, this is real. Because there was no police vehicle available. Let that sink in. This isn't about insulting the police. This is about asking a serious question. What exactly is the function of the system? Because many of us assume institutions work simply because they exist. Until something or until Nigeria happened to you, then you realize it doesn't. I had a similar experience once. A thief was caught breaking into my property broad daylight. Of course, they beat him. The police refused to take him because he was beaten. I was told to go and treat him first. And I'm like, for what? Please let him go if you guys don't want to arrest him. At some point, you stop asking, why is crime increasing? And you start asking, why does the system make it easier for criminals to walk free? If victims must pay to prosecute, fund feeding, provide transportation, and facilitate process, what message are we sending? Are we building law enforcement or are we building negotiations? Because if citizens start believing that the safest option is silence instead of reporting, then something deeper is broken. And this is not a small problem. So my question tonight is simple. Are we protected by the police or should we protect ourselves from the police?
Right, this is a matter is twine.
You shocked me, like when she was telling me things on the phone, I was like, are you trying to, like, this is a script? Are we working on a new movie? Like, she's like sending me evidence on WhatsApp. I was like, no, this can't be real. But this is real.
You know, I always try to have this aeroplane or helicopter view.
But the airplane is not flying.
But, you know, of things to just see, look at the bigger picture and see what it is. You know, that story has multi dimensions. For instance, it wasn't even the police that should have driven her to the prisons. It was the prison correctional service that should have taken over at the point of conviction. I say, you are our customer, right? We're going. So it just shows you the multi-dimensional angles of this thing. Now, in corporate Nigeria deals with issues of fraud and police prosecution a lot. We have a model or some kind of arrangement where you have a police liaison and all that. Essentially, what it is that if you need to prosecute anything, you have to fund it. And so we know. So once maybe a staff steals some things or maybe you catch somebody, you know the process already. It's not even something that you have to imagine. You know, you invite the police, you immediately mobilize them, okay, for feeding, for investigation.
That's legal?
Yes, I mean,
is it legal? Like that's the
it's
system?
not legal. It's how the system works. If you want to get that case going forward, and if you want to sort it out, you need to fund it. And so nobody's even questioning. Everybody has just accepted that that's the way it is. So, so what you're describing is the retail side of it.
Retail side is crazy.
Not wholesale.
Not enterprise. Not enterprise. This is the retail side of it.
Retail side is crazy, bro.
This is B2C.
Whoa, that's B2B.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the core issue is police funding.
Oh my God.
At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Okay, I think I will just respond to this line where you said, because if citizens start believing that the safest option is silence instead of reporting, then something deeper is broken. I don't know where you start, but that is what we believe already. I remember when this was 2017, if I'm not mistaken, I went to South Africa. In fact, I was passing through South Africa to Mauritius, and my laptop was stolen at Joburg Airport. I mean, we all know how that airport can be. And they told me, after searching, they couldn't find it, and they said I should do a police report. I was agitated, like, because my thoughts was based on what it looks like here. What am I going to go through? I need to go to the hotel to rest before catching the next flight and everything. I went in there. It was less than 5 minutes. I wrote my statements, and they took it in, and that was it. Nobody asked me anything. But bring that back to Nigeria. You can't just walk in and say you are making a statement to do your police report and nothing will drop, right? And I have not even tried to enter a police station. Like I've not had issues that meant people have said, go and report, so that this is. But I do not have that confidence as a Nigerian. I rather avoid anything that will bring me in contact with the police. The only contact I have with the policemen is on the road when they stop the vehicle I'm in, where your papers will interact, and end it there. And I try as much as possible to have everything I need to have, so that it doesn't escalate to any point where I have to get back in to your station. So as I am now, I have never entered any police station in Nigeria, especially because it's not like I've not had issues I need to report, but I do not believe in the system. So I just want to let you know that maybe it's just me, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'd rather not.
No, I think
Me
it's
too. Same
across
with
the
me,
board.
100%.
I think a lot of Nigerians feel exactly the same. Even the most heinous crimes are committed, and people just don't feel confident to go to the police stations to report because they know what it will entail. As you mentioned, there isn't funding. You know that if you're going to make a report, you're going to have to, foot the bill. You're going to have to transport them. You're going to have to give them incentives and all of that. So people just don't go. So that question of are we protected from? We're protecting ourselves from them because we know that they're not going to offer us anything that we require. There's not going to be an investigation. Is there an investigation? I read recently about a young woman that was raped and, did not want to pursue it. And I know that a lot of victims don't want to pursue the case because they know that it's not going to go anywhere unless they're supported by centers or advocacy groups. So, the lack of funding is really killing us here. They're not protecting us. They're not, upholding law and order because I guess they don't have funding. And so we are, I mean.
The ideal ratio for police to citizens in any country should be 1 to 300. In Nigeria, let me give you, we have about 350 to 370 police, in Nigeria. And we're over 200 million. In Lagos, they are reducing our population to 20 million. The truth of the real data is about 25 million. How many police officers do we have in the city? We have accepted hardship as resilience. 6 days ago, Said Alkali pointed it out clearly that out of 256 billion naira allocated for Ministry of Transport last year, the amount that was released to them to function was 2.5, 1%. Where is the remaining 99%? 9 years ago, a top police officer told me, he said, Benga, put it on Twitter. I said it, but I won't mention his name. He's a top-ranking police officer. He said the money they gave that the station receive every month to maintain, to buy fuel, to do everything is 31,000 naira.
Oh, what?
But like I said to Bright in the car, I said the reason why I avoid these people, in as much as I like them, when we were fighting for you, you were fighting us. When we're trying to make policies for you that will help you and secure your future, you didn't see it. You were interested in that old Dane gun to be killing youth. I hope that one day they will open their eyes and see that we are doing their bidding. God bless Nigeria.
We speak out when others are oppressed or face injustice because our voice, your voice, matters. To be honest, silence isn't really an option.
Put simply, Bright, if you keep silent when others are oppressed, one day your turn will come and you will also be greeted by silence. Every 6th of February, the United Nations marks the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, FGM. In Nigeria, this is not a fringe issue. It's actually mainstream. According to the UNICEF in its 2024 survey, Nigeria is one of the 10 countries that made the strongest progress in terms of FGM. Prevalence among adult women between the ages of 15 to 49 is now estimated at 15%, down from 20% in 2018, while prevalence among girls from 0 to 14 years old dropped sharply from 19.2% in 2018 to 8%. This is encouraging and it shows we are making progress. But don't get too excited. With Nigeria's growing population, a lower percentage doesn't necessarily translate to lower absolute numbers. UNICEF estimates about 20 million survivors of FGM in Nigeria, making it one of the highest globally. The truth is this: FGM is not just a culture issue, it's also an economic one. The health shock imposed on girls before they can even spell the word consent. It increases complications that drive up household health spending, reduces productivity, and deepens poverty, especially when access to quality maternal care is already fragile. According to the WHO, treating complications of FGM costs health systems an estimated $1.4 billion per annum globally. FGM is not also a woman's matter. It's a community matter. When a woman suffers avoidable childbirth complications with painful health consequences, it's not only a body that pays. The family pays. The family business pays. The economy pays. The husband pays through emergency bills, lost income days, trauma in the home, and sometimes the quiet collapse of intimacy that can't be put in a spreadsheet. So if you're a man listening to me, this is not an accusation, it's an invitation. Stop outsourcing the conscience of your community. FGM thrives not because men support it, but because men are silent. If you're a mother listening, this is not condemnation. It's solidarity and the reminder that love should never come with a blade. On this International Day of Zero Tolerance, while we advocate for enforcement of laws, community accountability, and survivor support, we must also resolve unequivocally that no tradition is worth more than a girl.
No truer words. No tradition is worth more than a girl. I think that community engagement especially has got to be increased. I read some information a while back. I'm not sure if the exact data, but it was a suggestion that most of the women, the mothers who subject their children to this, are women that have a higher level of education than you would assume. They have at least a primary school education. And when it comes to certain parts of the country, Nigeria, where it happens, there was a lot of, I don't want to ignite any religious debate, so I'm not even going to mention the religion or the but it was, there was a high level and it was based around the religion. And it doesn't make any sense because there's nowhere where that is in any of the, the holy books. So I think there's a lot more engagement that has to happen, even where you say there had been a drop in it. The mothers and grandmothers who advocate for this, who push for this, not only for the young girls, for brides in some parts of the country, brides are subjected to this. They have to be educated about this. I met a young woman some time ago. Her mother is a nurse. Her mother is a nurse. And her mother put her through this. Her mother told her that all her cousins, everyone had gone through that. And she told me that a lot of women in her area as well, when they are ready for marriage, also go through this. So we have to continue that community engagement, continue telling women, teaching them, showing them that this is not something that just happens. The psychological and physical scars continue for a lifetime. You've just said it. It's not only, this is done and then that's it. You curb promiscuity, which is what a lot of people say. You subject a lot of women to deep psychological pain in future because in their marriages, intimacy is affected. Childbirth is difficult or impossible. A lot of women die. There are just so many issues that we must focus our attention on bringing that education to women who might, subject their children to this. It's just an ongoing process and it's not culture.
I get very uncomfortable when we have conversations like this. If you guys notice, I'm always just like moving around because I think sometimes we forget that the blocks of society is so important that whatever it is that we ignore affects everyone, right? So we wait for something to happen before we start reacting. I want to ask a question. What is the right age for marriage for women in Nigeria? What does the law say when it comes to how old you need to be to get married?
Which of the laws?
But I think there are
Does it vary state to state?
So you have
Which
the
of the
criminal
laws?
code in
And then we
in
have
the
the
south, you have the penal code.
So we have different laws in different states.
Different criminal codes, really, that,
We still have
that
Sharia law
govern
too.
stuff like that.
In different states,
So, but isn't that a problem?
Of course, it is a big problem.
Of course it
It's a huge problem.
It's a problem.
All of these things is exactly, so it's like I've said this thing before, we always address the symptoms
Yes,
and we
not
ignore the cause. That's our problem in society.
Yeah.
And if we really want to address the cause, it begins with information, like you said. I've said this again on this table before. Men are not thought about women. Women are thought about men. There's so much we do not know about women. There's so much we don't know about cultures and what women go through. And there's so much women don't know about men. I feel like that, it begins, if you want to make change on top, it begins from the bottom. It begins from the current age that we have. How do we imbibe all of this information into our curriculum? Where people really understand what the current state is, what we need to, and the effect of the current state, and what we need to do to change it, and why it needs to change. Because why is a 13, 12 years old eligible to get married in some part of Nigeria? Why?
Yeah.
That's a baby. That's their brain is not even fully. They don't even know what's happening. They might even be at the event and think that they are just there to eat rice.
Yes.
And that entire event for them.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much in the building blocks of our society that if we don't fix it, we will keep coming to this table and keep having this conversation and nothing's going to change.
When I say to people that Nigeria is not a secular state, they want to stone me. And I said, go and read and study our constitution. Come back and tell me if Nigeria is a secular state. And like she said, I don't want to throw bomb to any religious conversation. However, this FGM in Nigeria especially is primarily driven by a kind of deeply rooted cultural belief system powered by religion. Because, sir, I don't even understand how you want to feel by touching an 18-year-old girl. I don't know. I'm talking for myself now. Let alone 12, 10, 13. How? From where? And you deceive them that it preserves virginity. You deceive them that it makes you marriageable. How many of them have married with their conscience, with their happiness, with their joy, wholeheartedly that yes, I am getting married? So I think we need to go back to the roots and address this document that governs each state or each zone. We need to. If not, you see, Yoruba, my mom will say, Imbo, I will land daddy. Don't worry, I will interpret.
Please do.
That is falling from the sky. Hey, you better put a net, or else when it falls on you, it will affect your neighbor. We need to quickly, we are saying, look at some insecurity measures that started that many years ago. Oh, it cannot get to Southwest. It cannot get to Southwest. Look at the reports today. So I think we need to quickly get to the root, and maybe we have to face the policymakers and let them know that it is risky.
But I would say that community engagement you mentioned is very important. That engagement is important because the cultural norm and the idea is this is how we have always done it. Some of them, it's not even religion, it's just that they did it to me, I have to do it to you. And most times it's the women that are the champions of this act, right? Because they are the custodians. They are the ones that will drag the woman and say, you have to do it, you know. So we need to engage. It has to be on different level, from, yes, the higher media to the lower media, radio, community, town hall meetings. Town criers for areas that
rulers,
everything.
Traditional rulers.
We have to come together to have that conversation. And the VAP Act, I think, makes this illegal. So we have a law for it. The question is always in enforcement. Right? I know that this act has also been, it's gotten to some states, most states really, right? But the point is enforcement. So everything has been said, but that engagement, because sometimes it's a psychological issue. It is. When you have lived your life a certain way, you think that is the best way to live. There is nothing better. They don't even know the disadvantages of what they are doing, that they themselves are currently experiencing, and they just want to keep on. Because we also have that mentality, because I trek to school, my children too must trek to school. You know, that kind of behavior. So
if it doesn't add up, then you must interrogate it. For example, the fact that love should never come with a blade. Right, Benga?
There are many things about the Nigerian equation that don't add up, Yinka. As they say, the math is not mathing at all, but we keep hope alive. To the resilient, weary, and heartbroken Nigerian, I want you to know that your exhaustion is valid. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of testament to how much you have endured, even though life is to be enjoyed. You have lived in a state of perpetual survival where the basic necessities of life, security, light, water, dignity, health, education have been turned into luxuries or worse, weapons used to keep you submissive. The men and women in the corridors of power often speak as if they are your masters rather than your servants. They look down from their fortified convoys and tinted windows. They tell you to sacrifice while they feast on the treasury. They tell you to be patient while they move with a frantic urgency and to siphon away the wealth of the land. Every time a hospital goes without equipment while a politician flies abroad for a checkup, a crime is committed. Jesus. Every time a school crumbles while a conspiracy project funds a mansion, a generation is robbed and the soul of the nation cries out. They have turned our beautiful diversity into a tool for division so that we are too busy fighting each other to notice who is picking our pockets. And yet, in the middle of this organized plunder, there is you, Yinka. There is you, SC. There is you, Ego. There is you, Bright. You, the tech genius in Yaba, Oguashuku, Kafancha, the mother in Onitsha, Aba, Sokoto, or Ajegunle, who wakes up at 4 a.m. to ensure that our children get an education. The youth in Kano, Lagos, Akure, Abeokuta, Mowe, Bafo, who refuse to let their dreams be stifled. To a Nigerian who feels like giving up, do not let them take your hope away. We may be ruled by a brood of thieves today, but they are not the end of our history or story. They are a dark chapter that we are currently writing our way out of. Till then, let us protect our communal bond and refuse to be divided. Beyond the lost and broken hopes lies an imagined giant, a country of all-round greatness, yes, will overcome. Hence, I come in peace. We shall overcome.
Benga, I like this advocacy, but
I mean, but really, it's uplifting.
I've been in this system for too long to.
Are you losing
believe,
hope?
Losing hope.
Renew your hope.
Bruh, nah.
Renew your hope.
I'm sorry. You see, one of the only
Renew your hope.
Renew your hope. The only thing I took out of your advocacy is organized plunder.
Thank you, sir.
The word organized.
Yeah.
You will see the people that are actually complaining, right? And if you literally look at their entire, financial infrastructure behind them, they are also part of the actors.
Yes. Yeah. They're part of the structure.
Do you understand what I'm saying? They're
playing their part.
Whether you own a shop in Alaba Market,
Yeah.
or you own a supermarket in Wuse Market, there's somehow, because when these people steal this money, they spend it, right? And you know that there's a certain system in place that when this money is spent illegally, you are also part of the system. You might not be deliberately involved in the moving of the papers and signing the checks, but indirectly you are a beneficiary.
Yeah.
If we really sit down today and gather everybody that's worth 100 million naira, 100 million in the account, and let's just probe everybody, think like one after the other, and trace how every single amount of money comes in, it's still part. You are part of the people that are eating national cake. It's not a government system. It's a general system. Corruption is
ingrained.
Is in our veins, bro.
Yeah.
So because of how much I've been inside the system and I've seen it from the outside, from the inside, from on top and from under, I'm sorry. There's no hope.
I'm going to hold on to this hope that you have given me today. And I'm going to repeat your first paragraph, which is, the resilient, weary, and heartbroken Nigerian, I want you to know that your exhaustion is valid. Like, that hits me deep. Your exhaustion. Because I'm really exhausted. I am. Right? And you went on to say it's not a sign of weakness, it is a testament to how much you have endured. So I think we should all take that. I absolutely understand where Bright is coming from. Right? And it's also valid to feel that way. I think that's part of the exhaustion, really. So there is hope. There are certain people, even in this government, not necessarily in the federal, but I mean, when you look at other arms of governments, local governments, the governors and all, there are people who are finally doing what we expect in terms of intentional governance and doing the right thing. So even if it's a drop in an ocean, right, some people are moving in that right direction. And I believe, I strongly want to hold on to this hope that we will be better. We will be better. And I think this is a part where I need to add that a lot is happening now in terms of people aligning, some are city boys, some are village boys, whatever it is, right? Your hope should not be lost, and that is why you must still register to vote. Because now when that conversation comes up, people are saying, they voted last time, what happened, this is that, I'm no longer interested, they should do whatever they want to do. Once you do that, then you have enabled the possible rigging, right? So no matter how downcast you are, how disappointed you are, how much news or how much flyers of village boy or city boy you see, everybody has got one vote. Use that vote, do not lose hope.
I go from day to day, from despair to hope. And I can only, and we're even in a privileged situation, all of us here to a degree. Imagine the mother in Abeokuta and Uyo, who is, as you said, waking up at 4 a.m., struggling, fighting against everything to get their child to school. There are no teachers in the schools. There are no resources. There's no feeding. They haven't eaten. So, as I said, I go from day to day. It's hope. Sometimes I'm Bright. Sometimes I'm Elsie.
And today I'm just Bright, man.
And today...
Maybe tomorrow I'll be Elsie. Today I'm just Bright, man.
And that is good. And that is okay. As you said, that is a level. That is actually part of the hopelessness that we're all facing. The anger and just trying to make sense of it, breaking it all down and figuring that, look, everybody, there's so many more people complicit in what is going on in this country. But yeah, I just say, yeah, I agree. Let's keep hope alive. I mean,
Proverbs 13:12, was it 12:13?
Let's go to church.
Woo, we're already there.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick. To be honest with you, hope is one of the strongest words in the dictionary because it defies evidence or logic.
Or explanation, yeah.
Okay. When you look at the logic and the evidence of what we see now, it's a hopeless situation.
Yes.
It's really a hopeless situation. And if you go by evidence, it just tells you, okay, so what do we have? What do we do? Everybody should just give up. But I tell people that what's the alternative to what we have? If you are faced every day with despair, if you are faced every day with dysfunction and with chaos, what's the alternative? Because you don't even need to be in the village, all right? You need to wake up in Lagos on a regular morning at 4 a.m. for you to realize that get into that traffic, the dysfunction, the hopelessness hits you immediately. And so the question is, how do the regular person behave or respond? And I think that it comes down to mental health. You just say, look, how do you survive in this kind of society, in this kind of environment? If you want to survive, if you want to be able to thrive in one way or the other, you must have hope. Because that's the only thing that you have. There's no choice. There's no alternative, because the alternative to despair is what? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's how I approach my day. That's how I approach my life. I approach everything. There's enough in it. Like my wife will say, choose your poison. Because everything is poisonous. So the question is, choose the one that you want, because everything is going to stress you and everything is going to take a lot out of you. But you're going to have to tell yourself that I will be very intentional. And one of the things that I try to do is I manage the content to which I expose myself to. I manage the content that I watch. I watch a lot of funny skits. Sometimes it's just because it makes me laugh. That's it. It takes away the reality from what I can see, what I'm seeing, to something that puts me in a different world. So sometimes I think that, we need to be very intentional in letting people know how they can cope with this kind of society. It's not to disregard the reality.
Yeah.
It's to give them a basis to say, okay, we survived today, let's try again tomorrow.
I'm sure that one day, hope will take you above all the chaos. All right, we will overcome is not just motivational speak, but a vision of the future for those who refuse to give up hope.
But first, as Ego said, we must interrogate the activities of the Hope Bandit. Year after year, our government prioritizes recurring expenditure over capital expenditure. Ministries go before the National Assembly and quietly admit what they have received for capital projects, less than 1% in some cases. Based on reports in early February on the 2025 fiscal year, the Federal Ministry of Health reportedly received about 36 million naira in capital expenditure, while the presidency allegedly received at least 150 million naira for a state house banquet to launch Renew Her, a women's in health initiative. We spent more on launching the idea of healthcare than on funding healthcare itself. And these are not spare funds. These are borrowed funds. Every naira spent is debt. Every misallocated naira is a life that could have been saved. How does a person have an accident without medical care for 2 whole days? Because doctors are on strike. And why does the idea of doctors withdrawing service not move our leaders to empathy, worry, urgency, reform, whatever, just anything? Why isn't allocative efficiency the central doctrine of governance in Nigeria? This simply means directing the public funds towards the sector with the highest welfare impact per naira spent. Now go back to first principles. Go back to the hierarchy of needs: hunger, healthcare, education, power, security. Today we are projecting roughly 15 trillion naira for a coastal road to enhance logistics, which is good. But remember, many federal roads remain death traps. Some governors are building flyovers and underground tunnels, while primary and secondary schools lack roofs, libraries, laboratories, and of course, even trained teachers. This is not development. It is a misplacement of priority. Nigerians need liberation through food security, functioning hospitals, quality education, reliable electricity, connectivity that powers productivity, and of course, the security of lives and property. When governance is intentional, projects are scrutinized for their direct impact on people, based on the hierarchy of needs. Anything else is vanity, and vanity funded by borrowed funds is wickedness. A nation that borrows to fund optics while underfunding survival is not developing. Let us fund what keeps people alive. Fund what makes them productive. Fund what compounds into prosperity. Everything else is mortgaging the future of our unborn children to finance optics.
I think several months ago, several weeks ago? Several months ago, I also recently, I did an advocacy on budget, our budget integrity, and emphasizing the fact that one of the bane of our development is the very fact that the budget, or the document we call our budget itself, is fiction. It's fiction. It's devoid from reality. I know a lot of people came for me at that time. What was I saying? Because we had the president who came out in September last year to say that we've met our revenue target. All right, only for us to hear from the Minister of Finance in December that we have not met that revenue target. We didn't meet it at all. And we're beginning to, and I remember one of the things I said then, that who do you believe, the CEO or the chief accountant? Because the CEO is trying to sell a product. The chief accountant is telling you the truth in terms of the number. I would believe the chief accountant. And so it brings back this question back to the whole revenue problem. Because at the end of the day, what you see clearly is that we have a revenue problem as a country. So how do you raise revenue? What do you do to be able to plug this? So the conversation has to be multifaceted. We have to have the courage to be able to look our government in the eye, ask for accountability, use the current systems that are already enshrined in law to be able to demand that level of accountability. But we have to also tell ourselves some very bitter truths. If there's no monies to be able to do some things that we want to do, then we have to have prioritization and look at what kinds of expenditure can we make for people. Because there will always be people that will say, oh, come and build roads. Oh, invest in education. Oh, do this. But we must have a very important, honest conversation to say which expenditure can impact the people most. And I think that if you have this conversation, a lot of people will say healthcare. A lot of people will say education. A lot of people will say, security. These are things that impact people, and these are things that we should spend money on.
Basic projects.
As I was talking to a couple of business people recently, young people who are just trying to start up something new, create solutions, and each and every one of them had a bitter story with every new idea that they try to start. And it just goes back to one thing, all of them, human capital, right? Just the fact that you can't trust the human beings to be able to to play their role, even if they are being paid, is stopping you from even solving a problem in the first place. Just because of that. I'm trying to start up something that I feel like could have created jobs for let's say 50,000 people. But when I think about it, I'm asking myself, is this thing going to create jobs for them, or are they going to just drain me dry while I'm trying to be the same that will create jobs for them in the first place? Because everybody is just trying to get for themselves. Yeah. And this they're getting for themselves isn't because they have a choice. It's because the system has failed them. It's because people have not prioritized their job to do what they need to do. Rather, they've just said, as long as I'm in the position, it is my turn, because at the next couple of years, I will not be in that position. So let me take what I can get from this position now. And that's where the problem is now. The fact that we don't have sustainability in policies, the fact that everybody wants to bring a new policy that fits their own agenda, that's the problem. There are people that end up at the end of this whole thing that will end up being the scapegoat for you misappropriating the funds that you're supposed to use to solve the problem. So for me, at this point, I'm just asking for one thing, and I'm looking straight into the camera. Which is, okay, this is my camera. Get conscience. Honestly. Get conscience.
Get conscience for sure, but I don't understand why, as you said, you are allocating, and I know you said it's padded and all of that, but why would you allocate and just not have all of it go to the right place? Look, we're here, you're not even providing the basics. The basics were built, as you said, you're building coastal highway. Children are out of school in this country.
18 million.
The largest number.
18
million. We're building coastal highway. What is that supposed to achieve when our children are not educated? What is when you have citizens that cannot have access to healthcare? Because the money allocated, I'm just aghast. 36 million. I read somewhere there was some reports about someone needing an MRI in Kwara State, and there was no MRI in the whole of this. Is it Ilorin alone?
Kwara Ilorin, yeah.
Okay. We don't have equipment. We're losing citizens every day, and we're prioritizing things that don't even. Big projects are important, of course, but how can you have these big projects, build a coastal road, when your people are starving, your people do not have healthcare, your children are uneducated and have no access to education? I don't understand it.
You see, this true identity of a thing, I think, is a serious course that we need to take. Knowing who you are. Because you see, low or zero self-esteem is a disease. That is why you see many, you are looking at me as if you don't know what I'm talking about. Let me show you. That's why you see many of them that they encourage themselves and motivate themselves, the kind of car they drive, the kind of bag they carry, the kind of wristwatches they put on. Yes. It's because they don't know who they are.
Yes.
It's because, listen, Some time ago, I studied somewhere around the world, I won't mention, and that was about 25, 26 years ago. And the first time I saw the president coming, there was no wow, wow, wow. Big country. There was no wow, wow. I was shocked. I only saw 2 bikers just move, bim, and at the robot is at the traffic lights. At the robot, everybody stopped, including the president. I was inside my car. His entourage was beside, his convoy was beside me. All the cars were 6. Then 1 helicopter in the space. That's all. But 2015 or when, I went to Unicar to go and do sustainability skills for undergraduates and the employability skills for graduates in Unicar. And we got to Margaret Ekpo International Airport. Now so water the drain inside the airport. I went to the station manager. I said, please, what's the issue here? And you see, we have written for approval to fix it. I said, how much will it? He said, actually, in real terms, maybe it's the very ridiculous amount of money that people working there can gather and fix. And when they now release the money, they take their money back. Right there, that day, Governor Ben Ayade came for one trip, and 34 cars lined up to come and meet, to come and visit, to come and receive him. 34 vehicles. And out of these 34 vehicles were, don't let me mention brands, 5, as at that time, the value of those cars there were about 300 million. 5 inside that, yet we got inside. Listen, I don't understand why this. Wait, is it that if you don't have 20, 30 cars, we will not move? Wait, I'm running mad here. I don't get it. Is it that when we don't have this number of cars, we cannot do what we want to do? Kilo Shewa?
There's a lot to be said, but we keep hope alive. We speak out and we take action. Ensure you contribute your quota by joining us at the table, same time, same channel next week. Till then, it is goodbye from all of us at the table.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.